A very good morning to all our Sports Today family members. And yes, there has been a lot of action in cricket and we are building up to the second test, that is between India versus Australia at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in New Delhi. There is a milestone approaching for one particular cricketer. And he is incidentally going to play his 100th test. That too against the same opponents in the upcoming test in Delhi. I am talking about Cheteshwar Pujara. Now you have to remember that Cheteshwar Pujara has had a pretty lean run if you have to look at it in the last couple of seasons. Remember all his knocks that he played against Australia, the grit and the determination that he has shown, it still could not overshadow the fact that Pujara has not scored big in the last couple of seasons. Yes, he won the Man of the Series award against Bangladesh. He managed to ensure that Australia would be ground to dust in the 4 test series that happened in 2020-2021. But Cheteshwar Pujara's calls on retirement, there is a very big statement that Cheteshwar Pujara is saying. He has indicated and he has clearly said, I am not thinking about it at all. He wants to go out and perform each and every time that he steps out onto the cricket field. And remember, these 2 tests, the upcoming 3 tests and the World Test Championship final is at stake for Pujara at this point in time. After the World Test Championship final, perhaps he may take a call on his playing future. Because remember, after this, India will play 2 tests against South Africa in December. That is the first test series in the new cycle that will happen from 2023 to 2025. So Cheteshwar Pujara is not at all focused about retirement. In fact, he is coming closer to the 100th test match. Remember, he will be the 13th Indian player to play 100 or more test matches. It is a great honor for Cheteshwar Pujara, who began his journey in 2010 against the Australians in a very tense match in Bangalore. His 72 ensured that he would be the ideal replacement for Rahul Dravid in the near future. And at number 3, he has indeed shown that he is the Great Wall of India Part 2. There is great news for the West Indies, who have managed to ensure that they win an overseas test after 2 years. They have defeated Zimbabwe by an innings and 4 runs, and it is thanks to the exploits of Gutakesh Modi, 7 wickets and 6 wickets, a total of 13 wickets in the match, that ensured West Indies ended their tour of Zimbabwe on a high. 1-0 in the 2-match test series. And remember, this was their first trip to Zimbabwe after nearly 6 years. So West Indies have made a great start in their African sojourn. But remember, 2 more tests remain in their World Test Championship cycle. This was not part of the WTC cycle, and that is why those 2 tests against South Africa, it could go either way for them, because remember, if they beat South Africa, they need other results to go their way so that they can stay in contention. But if they lose, they are out. The Women's T20 World Cup is really hotting up, and today we have India versus the West Indies. But yesterday there was Australia versus Bangladesh, and the Southern Star showed that they are indeed the boss. Nigar Sultana, her 57, ensured that Bangladesh could put up a decentish total. But Georgia Wareham, the leg spinner, took 3 for 20, and Australia were always in the driver's seat. Their victory has ensured that they stay on top of the group. And remember, there are future good clashes coming up for them. They have a clash against Sri Lanka, they have a clash against South Africa coming up. So that is why Australia will be hoping to ensure that they continue the dominant run. But on the other hand, India face a vital encounter against the West Indies. After a tense win against Pakistan, India will be hoping that they can put up a great show against the West Indies, because remember, their next encounter, 18th, is against England, and that will be very important. India and England are the 2 teams that are favourites to make it to the top 2 in the ICC Women's World T20. Australia and then one more team from that group, we'll have to hope that it happens, because remember, India will be hoping to finish on top. Because if they finish on top, they avoid Australia in the semi-finals, because topper of Group B will take on the second place of the next group. So that is why India will have to ensure that they finish on top in this Women's T20 World Cup. We also have another test starting, and that is England versus New Zealand. Remember, this is not part of the World Test Championship cycle, it's a bilateral series. The first test will take place at the Bay Oval in Mount Maunganui, and unfortunately for New Zealand, Kyle Jamieson has been ruled out because of a recurrence of the stress fracture that he suffered. Remember, since June 2022, Jamieson has not played for New Zealand at all. And unfortunately, he was selected, but he could not be selected in this match, in this two-match series, because he put it on his Instagram. Not the challenge I thought was in front of me this week. For whatever reason, this is part of the journey and what we sign up for at times in this game. Always thankful for what this game has given and continue to give me, good and bad. Jamieson's injury woes continue, and remember, in IPL 2023 he has been picked by Chennai Super Kings for 1 crore, but if it's a recurrence of a stress fracture that he has suffered, then his IPL participation could also be in doubt, because we are just 1.5 months away from the IPL. If Jamieson can't recover, then unfortunately Chennai Super Kings' woes will continue, and so will New Zealand's, because they play 2 tests against England and then they play 2 tests against Sri Lanka, the final series in the World Test Championship cycle. So at the picturesque Bay Oval, England and New Zealand have prepared to clash. And remember, England have not won in New Zealand for close to 10 years now. They lost in 2017 and they lost in 2019. So Ben Stokes, Bazball, 2 New Zealand players will be hoping to ensure that the team that they currently play for, England, win against their home opponents. So England versus New Zealand, despite Cyclone Gabriel causing havoc and ensuring that they could not manage to assemble and also play a practice match before the test match, they have finally come together at Mount Maunganui. The first match is tomorrow, which is the pink ball test. It will be at 6:30 a.m. IST. The coverage will happen here. England versus New Zealand, the first test happens tomorrow. From tennis, let us shift to cricket. Oh wait, let us stick to cricket. Why? Sania Mirza, who retired from, who played her last Grand Slam in the Australian Open, has now been appointed as a WPL mentor. Yes, Sania Mirza, India's ultimate tennis legend, has been appointed as the WPL mentor for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Remember, Royal Challengers Bangalore made all the right notes by picking top stars in the WPL auction, and that is why now Sania Mirza, yet another legendary name in the RCB women's camp. So Royal Challengers Bangalore are making all the big moves ahead of the IPL, the WPL, which will begin on March 4th. The entire schedule is out for the Women's Premier League, and Royal Challengers Bangalore will be determined to ensure that they can at least outshine the men and win the inaugural WPL. Smriti Mandhana has been picked up by RCB. Richa Ghosh has been picked up by RCB. And Elise Perry is also there in RCB. What a deadly combination that will be. Mandhana and Perry. Oof, that is truly a potent team. Now we will shift from cricket to yet another sport, and it is about football. Yesterday there was the UEFA Champions League fixtures, and here we saw Bayern Munich put on a great show by winning 1-0 against Paris Saint-Germain. Remember, Kingsley Coman, ex-Paris Saint-Germain, helped Bayern Munich beat his old club. And it continued Paris Saint-Germain's rather woeful run, because prior to the Champions League encounter, they had lost to AS Monaco. And after that, now this Champions League loss does not put them in good stead. Remember, there are a lot of off-field issues as well when it comes to Paris Saint-Germain. And so we have to understand that this culmination, this Champions League fixture result is a continuation of the slump that Paris Saint-Germain are currently in. But when we look at the other fixture, Tottenham Hotspur versus AC Milan, it was AC Milan who managed to win 1-0. And Tottenham Hotspur's woes continue. Premier League, they are not performing up to the mark. Now in the Champions League also, they are struggling. So it is a rather downward spiral for two teams who have kind of underachieved. See, Tottenham Hotspur have underachieved at all levels. Paris Saint-Germain, when it comes to European tournaments, they have underwhelmed a lot. And so this is how the morning wrap has been. And we are building up to the second test, which will happen day after tomorrow at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. India versus Australia. India are 1-0 up after the thrashing that they got in Nagpur. Innings and 132-run win for India against Australia, and we'll be hoping that India makes it 2-0, because if India make it 2-0, they need to win only one more test to seal their spot in the World Test Championship final. For Australia, if they lose 4-0, they have to hope Sri Lanka do not win 2 tests against New Zealand and that they can make it to the Oval on June 7th. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to this morning wrap. We'll be back with more. We'll be back with more updates from sports today. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Don't forget to download the SportsTak mobile app, because all the latest information you want in Hindi and English, you'll get it there. Thank you.